How's it going, everyone? My name is Michael SK, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 8. Well, the battle is over, I think. I think that the big fight is finally over, and we've won, or at least we survived. I don't know if we've truly won. I don't know. I feel like something might happen. I'm really worried. Like, I don't know. We've come all this way. It's been such a long journey. It just feels weird that we may have won finally. I don't know. Anyways, Hanyu went off to spiritually talk with Takano because the Mountain Dogs are going to use her. Well, not even the Mountain Dogs, but the people that were using her were going to continue to use her as a scapegoat so that she can completely take the fall and everything will just continue as normal for everybody else. I think that's how that's going. Other than that, yeah, I mean, the battle is won. They straight up outsmarted and outdid the Mountain Dogs, which is weird because they truly are a bunch of meddling kids, and they're God. All right, let's see where Hanyu is.
Hanyu-chan!
I heard voices in the distance, and then I saw a girl standing in front of me. She's one of Mion's club members, my most hated enemies. Shit. She's found me. The rain had already ceased. I decided to come out of the hollow tree. After the rain, it had grown so humid. I was starting to sweat all over, so I guess this really does confirm that nobody can connect the dots, you know, especially Takano, who has seen Oyashiro-sama Hanyu and Hanyu as the same person. I'm soaked in sweat, mud, and rain. I feel filthy. I've been bitten by mosquitoes, and my body is itching all over. This is why I hate the mountains. I pointed the gun at her. The girl just looked at me calmly as if she didn't see it. At the very least, she did follow my order. What should I do? Should I take her as my hostage? I only have one bullet. How long can I keep running for?
Hanyu! どこだよ! 参ったな。マジで迷子だぞ、あいつ。
見つけましたわ。羽生さん。羽生、一体今までどこへ。
本当に最後の最後までついてないわね。いや、あるいはついてるのかしら。最後の最後で一矢報いることはできそうね。みんな、これが何かわかるわね。
No, I definitely have not seen anything like that this entire day of back and forth fighting. Absolutely not.
銃よ。
Oh my god.
身動きしちゃダメよ。これで状況は逆転ね。
Homie, you have one bullet. What tables have turned?
くそ。なんてこと。
I guess they wouldn't know that.
ミオンちゃん、他の誰かを撃たれたくなかったら、一歩前に出なさい。
ダメだよ、みーちゃん。
Mion stepped forward quietly. She certainly has a lot of courage. No wonder she's their leader.
あなたのおかげで、私はもうめちゃくちゃよ。私を殺そうと、この山中に怖いお兄さんたちが歩き回ってるわ。どうせ私は許されない。でも、このままではあまりに悔しいわ。だからね、せめてお返しをしてやりたいの。
偉そうに言ってるけど、その銃に弾が一発しかないのは知ってるぜ。
その通りよ。でもその一発でミオンちゃんが死んでしまうかもしれないとは考えない？
高野、ミーを撃つ気ですか？
誰も動いちゃダメよ。焦って撃ったら誰に当たるかわかんないんだから。
みんな、動いちゃダメだよ。私の後ろに隠れてて。
勇敢ね。誰かを撃たれるくらいなら、自分が撃たれようという自己犠牲？
まあね、 拳銃の一発でそうそう人間くたばるもんじゃない。当たりどころにもよるだろうけどさ。
驚くわ。なんて勇気なの。みんなに代わって私に撃たせようってこと。言っておくけど、銃声がすれば怖いお兄さんたちが殺到するだろうから、それを恐れて私が発砲しないなんてのは。
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get caught anyways, you know. I get the thought process. It's fucked up, but I totally understand. If you're gonna get caught, take the person who carried out the plan against your plan and, you know, ruined your plan.
じゃあ撃てばいいよ。ただし、その一発を撃った後、私の仲間はあんたを八つ咲きにするよ。
望むところよ。人を呪わばなんとやら。おこのぎを屈服させるほどの名称と相打ちなら、それも悪くないわね。
I like that Shadow the Hedgehog dub, where it's like, oh yeah, you dig 2 holes. Nah. You're taking more people out. You're gonna need more holes dug.
撃ちなよ。その代わり、絶対私に当てな。私以外の仲間に当ててみろ。あんたを死ぬより辛い目に遭わせてやる。
怖い。
Did Takano, like, learn anything from her conversation with Hanyu at all?
ダメだよ、みーちゃん。高野さんは本気。この人、本当に撃つよ。なんとか時間を稼ぐんですのよ。そうすれば、番犬の誰かがきっと。
もちろん。だから、一矢報いる機会がなくならないうちに、さっくり一発撃たせてもらうわ。さーて、どこに当たるかしらね。下手くそだから、どこに当たっても許してね。
本気ですか？みんな動くんじゃないよ。私は部長さ。みんなを背中に守れるなら、こんなに嬉しいことはないね。もし、当たりどころが悪かった時はさ、部活ロッカーの中に神棚を作って、私を軍神と称えてよ。次期部長はケイちゃんね。みんな、そん時は後をよろしく。
Mion is prepared to die. I'm already cornered. I won't accept any words of negotiation. Mion understands that she doesn't want anyone else to be killed, and that's why she chose to be a shield for her friends. That was an easy decision to make for her, because none of her friends would end up hurt. If she ends up just getting injured, and that would be a stroke of luck, as far as she's concerned. Even if she doesn't make it, she thinks that's far better than seeing any of her friends die. And that's why Takano will shoot. Even though she understands Mion's noble intentions painfully well, it's too visceral, let's go with that, for her to accept, so she'll shoot. I will pull the trigger. With all the absurdities of the human world riding on that bullet, I will shoot her.
あなたたち、よくゲームはするわよね。トランプのババ抜きはやる？
やらないね。うちはジジ抜きばっかだよ。
同じようなルールよ。人の世の罪はババ抜きと同じ。誰もが一枚のババを互いに押し付け合う。それは勝者を求めるゲームではなく、私はそのババを引いた。そのカードを、もう渡す相手がいない。だから、その腹いせにあなたを撃つの。不条理な人の世らしくね。
I'm preparing myself to shoot. There's no hesitation left in me. I will shoot her, I'm serious. Mion closed her eyes and opened her arms to try and shield her friends as much as she could. And that was when Hanyu stepped forward and placed herself in front of Mion.
羽生、危ないから下がって。
勇敢なるミオン、あなたの勇気はそれで十分です。人の世のババ抜きが必ず人に押し付けられなければならないものならば、それを引き受けるのが私の役目。羽 羽生、あんた、何を。私も部活メンバーに加われてよかった。この世界はすごく楽しかったです。私も部活メンバーに加われてよかった。見ているだけじゃなく、加わる部活は本当に楽しかった。ありがとう。もう十分に楽しんだ。神の身には過ぎたくらいに幸せだった。
In that moment, Hanyu glared at me adamantly.
さあ撃て、人の子よ。人の世の押し付けずには済まぬ罪を放て。それを受け止めてやる。
わかったわ。わかったなら死ね。
The club members must have thought I was joking, or bluffing. They didn't think that I would actually shoot. There was a noise like something exploding. In a world where time became as sticky as syrup, we saw it happen. The silver bullet hitting an invisible wall in front of Hanyu. As though the wall was protecting her. The bullet wanted to pierce Hanyu's chest, but it couldn't reach its goal. A bead of sweat formed on Hanyu's forehead. She had stopped the bullet with an invisible force.
大丈夫です。人の身でもこれくらいのことはできますです。
The silver bullet was being pushed back. Takano was startled by this otherworldly phenomenon, but then she spoke one phrase.
この化け物が。
The silver bullet smashed through that invisible wall. There was no longer a wall at all. There was no wall to protect Hanyu from the bullet. The bullet approached Hanyu's chest. Somebody let out a silent scream. Nobody could stop it. Nobody could stop that bullet. In that world of frozen time, nobody could stop the bullet that was stopped just inches in front of Hanyu's chest. Hanyu's friends had seen the scene before. The moment of checkmate. No matter how much they screamed, there is no way to avoid this tragedy. They knew that from their memories.
あなたは死ぬ。好きなだけ走馬灯をごらんなさい。それが終わったら胸板をぶち抜かれて血をばらまいて、自分の血で溺れてのたうち回って死になさい。
その覚悟がなかったら、僕はミオンの前になんか出ないのです。
Hanyu thought that this would take care of everything. Hanyu wasn't supposed to exist in the first place. She would leave the stage and the rest of the cast would stay unharmed. This is how it's supposed to be. But in that moment, something happened to surprise even Hanyu. In the world of frozen time in which nobody could move, Rika reached out and put her hand on the bullet that was stopped in midair. How could she move? Even Hanyu couldn't move. Why could a mere human like Rika grab the bullet?
それを驚くのはおかしいわ。あんたと学んできたんじゃない。奇跡の起こし方。今日何度もすごいことが起こったけれど、本当の奇跡なんて何一つ起こしちゃいないわ。すべて死んじゃえば起こって当然のことだった。だからこの最後の瞬間に本当の奇跡を使うわ。私、お社様の生まれ変わりだしね。
I mean, I'm not really surprised that
この程度の奇跡は使わせて。
that Rika can pull a fucking rabbit out of her hat because, you know, she already can do some weird shit, being able to even talk with Hanyu before she even, you know, physically existed, and also her whole, you know, jumping between worlds every time she dies deal. She's definitely not a normal human. I'll let this one slide. I'll let some fuckery happen here. I won't question anything, I'll just let it happen. Rika rubbed the frozen bullet gently, very gently, and then held it, and embraced it lovingly, her hands at her chest, in that world where not even Hanyu could move.
高野も羽生も
人の話を聞かないやつだってことも分かったわ。ミオンの話を聞いてた？私たちはババ抜きなんてやらないわ。ジジ抜きしかやらない。それを高野は同じようなゲームだと笑ったけど、全然違うゲームなのよ。
So what's gonna happen here? An old maid, a single joker, an unharmonized element is added to a full harmonized set of cards, and people try to foist it onto another. But an old bachelor, one card is removed from the harmonized world, and everyone foists the unharmonized fragments on each other. It's different than having a joker, because everything would be in harmony if there wasn't something missing. Players try to get rid of something in both games, but what they try to get rid of is very different.
ジジ抜きも同じ。敗者の手元に1枚カードが残って終わる。それを高野が同じだと例えた気持ちはよくわかるわ。でもね、違うの。だってジジ抜きは
If the missing card was added back in, there would be no loser. Hanyu, the missing card in this world, where someone has to foist their sins onto another, has joined the game. So this game has no losers. Yet you're still trying to take one card away. What a waste of a miracle.
敗者なんかこの世界にいらない。これがフルでリカが奇跡を求めた1000年の旅の最後にたどり着いた答えよ。
The answer has always been there. It was there in the very first game of Mion's club. There was always a loser because we were playing a game of cards with one missing. If we could fill in for the missing card by believing each other and helping each other, then it would complete a full deck of 52 cards. A complete world without a loser. A complete world where no one is left out. Nobody has to stay out of the circle. Nobody has to cry or be burdened with sins. A world where everybody, or where everyone holds each other's hands and forgives each other's sins. When people live, there will be sin. What's important isn't to avoid sins, but to forgive them. A world can only become ugly and twisted when people try to stay pure. Let us accept our sins. Let us all forgive. That's the answer Rika Furude reached. A complete world. A world free from the sins of the human world, where one has to become a loser. Rika reached that. As a human being, after an unbelievably long time, she finally reached it. Welcome home, Mother. The frozen time had begun to thaw. There was smoke coming from the muzzle of Takano's gun, so it was definitely fired. However, nobody got hit. Keiichi looked around fearfully to make sure nobody was bleeding. They were all fine. Nobody had been shot.
外しやがった。
ざまあないね。
The tension lifted in Mion's body, and she began to sweat all over.
この私がこの距離で
All the club members thought the same thing. It was a miracle that the bullet didn't hit anyone. The club members had all felt the same way. They were all thinking, if it's going to hit someone, let it hit me. However, Rika Furude wished for a miracle that was far beyond that. Rika wished for a miracle that was higher than self-sacrifice, She wished for a world where the bullet wouldn't hit anyone. She wished for a world where Takano wouldn't be hurt because she shot someone. Footsteps were rushing towards them. Takano tried to run, but she tripped over a root and the scrapbook in her hand scattered everywhere. As she tried to gather up the papers, members of the Bloodhounds surrounded her. All the Bloodhounds pointed their guns her way, and some even poked her with them, but Takano still didn't stop gathering up the papers. Some of the men stepped on the papers, and Takano tried to pull them out from under them. She tried to pull them out, begging them in tears not to step on her precious papers.
高野さんさ、あなたを逮捕します。
私が全部悪いことになるのよね。
The club members, feeling bad for her, looked at the ground.
立て、両手を後ろに回せ。
Yep, I think now it's finally all over.
こら抵抗するな。
いやよいやおじいちゃんのスクラップ持ってくの。
Takano just wanted to pick up the pages of her scrapbook, but the bloodhounds, thinking that she was just resisting, pulled on her hair to try and make her stand up. Although this was her fate, it was too hard to watch her be treated that way. And then a noble voice resounded among them.
待て。
Radiating with divine light, a man appeared. They all knew this man very well, but they had never seen him look so determined.
調査部の富武2位だ。彼女は調査部が保護する。しかし司令部から直ちに東京へ連行せよと命令を受けています。君たちは彼女を見て気づかないのか。彼女の全身を見ろ。かきむしった後でいっぱいじゃないか。hinamizawa症候群のかなり高いレベルの発症が疑われる。
There were lots of horrible scars on her wrists, arms, and neck. Takano had scratched herself throughout the day because of all the stress. There is no way for anyone to be certain if those marks were symptoms of the syndrome. I didn't think they were, but it was in the back of my mind. But when Tomitake said that, it certainly sounded true.
しかしサンサは入江機関で予防薬の投与を受けているはずです。発症するわけがありません。君たちは資料をちゃんと読んでいるのか。予防薬は 100% の効果を保証するものではないと書いてあるぞ。十分読んでいれば彼女の状態が末期症状であるとわかるはずだ。調査部は彼女の尋問にあたりhinamizawa症候群の治療が最優先されると考える。そもそも今回の事件が彼女の意思に基づくものなのか、末期発症による妄想錯乱によって引き起こされ、それを誰かが利用したのか。慎重な判断がなくては全容解明は不可能であると考える。彼女の罪なのか、彼女の病んだ病の罪なのか。
It was her fault.
この場で断言するのは不可能だ。それを判断するためにも彼女には治療を受ける権利があり義務がある。
Yeah, I don't know if I can say that it's the fault of the disease, because a lot of this seems just like, you know, normal human reaction. You know, how you really fall to the bottom and you basically get used because you really are at the bottom. You'll grab onto anyone and anything that's willing to help and believe you and basically raise your spirits, and well, that's what she fell for. I mean, the game even fucking told us. But I think what Tomitake is trying to do here is save her, because he does care for her. He does, truly.
次郎さん。
彼女を直ちに入江機関本部へ移送し、発症レベルの検査に入る。高野3佐の治療体制を準備させるよう入江2佐に連絡を。ただし3佐については今後厳重に監視をつけ、全ての行動には制限が加えられるものとする。詳細は調査部長岡一佐から上級司令部を通して命令があるはずだ。
The Bloodhounds conveyed all this information over the radio. Nobody had any objections. Their job was to arrest her, after all. Any interrogations or investigations after that were the job of the investigations. So if those were the orders from investigations, then that was that. Tomitake walked over to the muddy figure of Takano.
次郎さん。
Takano buried her face in Tomitake's chest and cried. Only Tomitake and Takano knew the meaning of those tears.
遅くなったね。君を迎えに来たよ。
次郎さん。
君がそうだと思っているような。やり直そう。今度こそ君の本当の人生を。
できない。私いっぱい罪にまみれた。やり直したりなんかしちゃいけない。死ななきゃいけない。じゃなきゃ私は自分の罪の重さで。
そうだね。君の罪はひょっとすると軽いものじゃないかもしれない。でも大丈夫。僕が一緒だから。だから一緒に償おう。高野美代の罪を償おう。そして僕と一緒に田無美代子を取り戻そう。その日まで僕は決して君のそばを離れない。
生きてていいの？私は生きてていいの？みんながお前が死ねば丸く収まるって私に言うよ。 それでも私は生きてていいの？それでもジローさん、それでも私は
世界は君を許さないかもしれない。でもそれが何だってんだい。僕が君を許すよ。だから生きよう。死ぬことは罪の償いにはならない。生きて償い、世界に許しを請おう。そしてやり直すんだ。そうしたらきっと思い出せる。君が本当はどんな人で、どんな風な笑顔を浮かべていたかをね。
After a while, Takano was taken to the Irie Institute in handcuffs. She was, however, handcuffed with her hands in front of her. She was holding the scrapbook. Tomatake had cleaned the mud off of it. The downpour from the early afternoon had passed. The cicadas began singing again, reminding everything that this was a normal June in Hinamizawa. God damn, I can't speak. It was so hot despite being June. It's so hot despite it raining. I hate it when that happens, when it's like so hot outside, you know, even with rain. And the sky was brilliantly clear. It's gonna be humid as fuck. God damn. Someone asked someone else the time. She looked at her watch. It was 3 p.m. God damn, some time has passed. The Watanagashi festival would be starting at 5. It was almost time. Even from there, the Furude shrine could be seen. There were red lanterns hanging all over. Once the sun went down, those lanterns would be lit. It was almost time for the Watanagashi festival. Ooh, I wonder who's gonna die this time. And with that, everything would end. When the Higurashi cry, the game that stretched across different worlds has ended, and what the winner obtained after their victory is that the game ended without a loser. Which works for me, to be completely fucking honest. Hanyu was prepared to leave after the game was over, but she was still there. She was allowed to be there. In other words, she wasn't the card that was taken away. The card that was taken to play their game of Old Bachelor was no longer there. The breeze rustled Hanyu's sweaty, messed up hair. She was dumbfounded. Rika went over and stood next to her. She didn't need to say anything. She only smiled at Hanyu. That girl had pretended to be a bystander, but decided to step onto the stage. And then she thought that was enough and tried to step off of it. With those memories of her bright time on stage, she tried to step off, but someone grabbed her sleeve and stopped her. She was told that she could stay. Then she realized that she was still on stage, and she didn't have to leave after all. There was a spot for her on the stage, and she was no longer a bystander. And that was an unbelievable miracle. She didn't even exist in the script. Nobody needed her to be there. But the miracle allowed her to stay.
あれだけ苦労した旅だったのです。その程度の奇跡じゃちょっと足りない気もしますですよ。みたー。十分ですよ。こんな奇跡、僕の身には十分すぎて。
Rika smiled at Hanyu one more time and passed her what was in her right hand. Hanyu felt something cold and hard. What was it? Hanyu slowly opened her hand and looked at it. It was the bullet Takano had fired. This was the proof of their miracle. It was the proof that Hanyu could exist there. It was the proof that they could be together forever and ever.
もうすぐ暗くなってお祭りの時間になりますです。はあ、みんなで楽しくお祭りで部活なのです。もう脇で見てることなんかできませんです。きっと新人いじめの洗礼で罰ゲーム三昧でかわいそなのです。もう綿流しのお祭り見てるだけじゃないのですね。そうです。だってお祭りは見るものじゃなくて加わるものですよ。
True that, homie. Were they testing the speakers? It was still bright outside, but there was music playing already. The cheap dub BGM collection of festival music could be heard from the Furude shrine in the distance. It sounded so exciting to her. This was what she had wanted to join in on all this time. Rika held her hand. Let's go together. Let's go to the Watanagashi Festival. All of us. Together. Yeah. Hey, I'm down for a fucking Watanagashi Festival this time around, you know? You know what I noticed is that we never got our Rena voice actor talking about whatever it was and it showing the name of the chapter that we're on. We never got that this time around. Maybe it's just not necessary? I don't even know what the point of it was before. Maybe to foreshadow something or talk about the theme? I don't know. I always just get like overly excited. It's hard to pay attention sometimes. They had almost too much energy left. It had been a long day and many things had happened, but they still had the energy to go to the festival. It was, after all, the special day of Watanagashi. The curse of Oyashiro-sama had been lifted, and no tragedy would ever occur again. It was the first peaceful Watanagashi, the first one without a tragedy since the dam conflict. The villagers had noticed that the phone lines were disconnected during the day, but it was fixed so quickly that they didn't pay much attention. They heard that the Self-Defense Force helicopter near the mountains, but rumor had it that they came to the wrong place for their training. The elderly villagers laughed and said that the young men of the National Defense Force needed to pay more attention. Some people say the Self-Defense Force even came to the Irie clinic. The villagers didn't even get suspicious about that. They assumed that the Irie clinic had started doing physical checkups for the SDF. Which is a little strange to, assume, but whatever. There were pieces of broken glass on the roadside near the village border, as if there was an accident. Some people wondered how anyone could have an accident when there was no obstruction on the road. The elderly people said to each other that they always had to drive carefully, even on a familiar road. But it looked only like a trace of a normal accident, so they didn't get suspicious. I'm glad everything's just, easily getting cleared up here. The rest was a ghost story. The villagers heard an extra firework to signal the festival taking place. It wasn't an echo. The people in charge of the fireworks were puzzled. But when Rika said Oyashiro-sama must have shot the extra firework, the villagers simply believed that was true. It was the night of Watanagashi, the biggest festival of the year. The villagers forgot their worries and enjoyed themselves. The club members were doing great as usual. I'm glad we don't have to go through, the usual, we gotta, shoot the thing, and, we gotta go advertise for food. Would have been cool if there was, an auction or something along those lines. The old Mion versus Shion. I don't remember Teach being here. They were doing so great that they were all taken to the main tent and yelled at by the mayor. That was a normal Watanagashi night for the villagers. But there was one thing that was very different. Very different. The girls fought for an unimaginably long time in many different worlds for the sake of this night. However, nobody would ever know that. Oh, there was another big change too. Rika Furude said that she wants to go to a pool in the summer. It's unusual for her to say that she wants to do something. She wants to see the stars, and she wants to go on a camping trip. She wants to look at the sunflowers. She wants to make the school into a haunted house, etc. There are so many things that she wants to do over the summer break. Right. Rika Furude, for the first time, is making plans for after June 1983, because this is the first summer break that she's going to experience after 100 years of repeating the same life. She will now experience an all-new summer vacation. Who would stop her from getting excited about that? Rika Furude is looking forward to waking up before Sudoko to rip the page off the calendar at the end of June. Rika Furude's infinite future has begun. There are infinite possibilities, yet she can only make one choice. But that's why it's a great world. Let's talk for a moment about the people who fought with Rika Furude. Mion Sonozaki has vowed to study hard so she can continue her education after the summer break. According to Keiichi, even that may not be enough time for her. However, how can the legendary club leader, Mion Sonozaki, fail an entrance exam? She will more than likely find a way to get into the school she wants to go to. Hopefully, it isn't an illegal one. Anyhow, She's looking forward to enjoying her final summer break, so she has tons of plans. The club members can't get away from Mion even during the summer. Once you're involved with her, she'll always find a way to get at you. No matter how much you want to be alone, you'll never go back to spending a boring summer by yourself. I really wonder how anyone here at this school specific, and not to sound like an asshole, but come on, it's one of those schools that like, it's only a school that can really exist in an anime world. There's no way that they're gonna be able to get into like, I don't know, just like a college. I guess maybe if you like self-study, maybe you can just get into like an ordinary, like just pass an entrance exam, you're good to go. Like, all right, maybe here's like a golden star sort of deal. I don't know how it works in Japan. Keiichi Maibara has been asked by Mion and Chie Sensei to be their next class president. He was also asked to be the next club leader too, but he declined immediately. Keiichi likes the club because Mion runs it. He continued to say that it's Mion's club until she got mad. Keiichi can't understand why she's so angry. Well, Keiichi wouldn't be Keiichi if he wasn't dense. Oh no, what's going on here? So things are rather lively around him again today. His good name continues to spread even in Okonomiya. Rena Ryugu is growing more energetic every day too. Is she taking everybody home? What's going on? Sadako, Rika, and Hanyu spend every day in fear of being abducted by her. Still, she's been acting more mature lately. She takes care of her younger classmates, and she's almost like a mother figure to the class. She is like a mother to all of the club members too. I can understand why. Be a better mother figure than her own mother. After hearing that, Keiichi said that he'd be a father for the class. As usual, Rena thought about that too much and blushed. And then destroyed Keiichi's face. Sadako Hojo is as lively as ever. Oh, before we move on to Sadako, I still, like, somebody, completely destroyed my hopes saying that, I don't know if it was canon, I don't think it was canon, I don't know if there is a canon, but somewhere down the line in some story of Higurashi, Keiichi gets with somebody completely outside the village. And I don't know, if I had to choose a ship for him with, somebody here out of the main characters, it'd be Rena. But that's just because, Rena is like my favorite character of the bunch. Bias, maybe, I don't know. She used up most of her traps on the mountain during the battle with the Mountain Dogs, so she's setting up new ones for the next event. Rumor has it that some members of the Bloodhounds were so impressed with her trap techniques that they asked her for some lessons. There is supposed to be a training area near Mount Fiji, and they asked her to set up her traps there. And that's not a very good idea. The Sea of Trees really will become a forest of no return. Either way, Sadako keeps saying how she wants to fight against the Bloodhounds next. She's invincible. Also, she's become a great cook. And that's because Hanyu has been teaching her. According to Hanyu, Sadako is a quick learner, as compared to Rika. Sadako's dream is to master fried chicken, which is her brother's favorite, and welcome him home with it. I'm the only one who knows this. But her dream may come true very soon. As for her brother, Satoshi Hojo is yet to return home. His condition is unchanged. If there's been any change, it's in Shion Sonozaki. She goes to the clinic on her days off. Nobody knows why she goes there, but she seems to be very happy, so nobody pays much attention to it. Mion has teased Shion by saying that maybe she's planning on getting implants, but Shion just smiles. That's fucked up, but also kind of funny. Also, for whatever reason, she's been visiting her relative's clothes shop and buying all kinds of men's clothing. Lately, she's even started buying more than just men's clothing, but why is she so excited when she visits the clinic with a maid outfit that's not in her size? The truth is shrouded in mystery. Yeah, that's a little sus, just all around, but whatever. The biggest change is probably that Shion babies Sadako nowadays. She tries to make Sadako call her Nene, which only annoys Sadako. I don't know, that terminology was never used, or that term was never used in the previous chapters, right? Like chapter 6, 7, definitely not, right? Kyosuke Irie has two jobs now. On one hand, he is a respected doctor, and on the other hand, he is an evangelist for maids, of course. The Irie clinic was supposed to be closed, but the villagers pleaded with the authorities not to shut it down. While Irie isn't originally from the village, he and everyone else feel that he's one of the villagers now. He is an indispensable part of village life. The conservative attitude toward Hinamizawa syndrome is gone, and now it is being researched very proactively. The syndrome is being researched so passionately that hopefully in the near future, all the victims of this disease will be freed for good. Also, later on, Irie will publish an advanced article about the influence of the brain on human behavior, which will surprise people in the medical world. I won't go into the details here, but it'll talk about how one should hate the sins instead of the sinner. The deceased Hifumi Takano and Mio Takano's names will be mentioned in that article. Okay, interesting. Jiro Tomatake still visits Hinamizawa every season. He is still known as the fighting, traveling photographer, and he continues to walk around the village looking for good picture spots. However, he isn't seen in the village as much as before. His bicycle is always parked around the back of the clinic, so maybe he spends a lot of time there. Some villagers may say he's sick and being treated, but his bright smile proves they are wrong. Mio Takano hasn't been seen since that day. Nobody knows where she has gone, but obviously, Tomatake isn't worried, so she must be doing fine. She'll probably show up one day out of nowhere and start telling ghost stories to scare some kids. Which is, better than her usual shit. Alright, Mamoru Akasaka, here we go. What happened to him was pretty funny. His wife and daughter followed him in secret. They pretended to run into him at the festival. Rika called him Papa, so things grew complicated all of a sudden. Why is she wearing that? Why? Akasaka's wife smiled, but she choked his neck with her braided hair. What? Her arms were folded, but her braid moved like a tail. Squeeze. She tortured a man who destroyed a special forces unit without even using a weapon. Rika continued to tease him, making the situation even worse. However, Akasaka's family liked Hinamizawa, and they said they wanted to come back. Oh hey, it's her. I didn't even know she had a sprite. Akasaka's daughter and Rika grew so close that they seemed like sisters. That's nice. Alright, Ushi, what's poppin', my man? He's gotten back into playing Mahjong. Wait, he stopped? For whatever reason, Akane Sonozaki had joined the table too. And there's rumors a riot squad almost got dispatched to the Mahjong parlor one time. Man, they've really become good friends. His colleagues said, well, friends, quote unquote, his colleagues say Ushi has calmed down quite a bit. It's probably because he has reached closure within himself. But his colleagues know nothing about that. At least he didn't lose his pension, right? That was a big problem. He's planning to move to Hokkaido when he retires, but he wants to come back every summer. His bright second life is waiting for him. I'm assuming he didn't get in any big ass trouble, so that's good. Alright, Tatsuyoshi Kasai hasn't changed much compared to the others. To some people, this was a life-changing event, but for Kasai, it was just another episode added to his tales of heroics. According to Kasai, this incident was just a little bigger than usual. If this was just a little unusual, then what in the world would be needed to impress him? Shion insists that he will tell her, but Kasai only tells her that that's a secret. Also, he regretted exposing that part of his past. Shion keeps begging him to tell her all about it, but he simply ignores her. I like this man. So cool. Let me talk about myself too. I, Hanyu, am doing great in my new life as Hanyu Furude. I'm finally getting better at playing games, and now I'm taking the role of the club's dark horse, a position formerly reserved for Keiichi Maibara. I have a bad habit of believing everything I hear, so Mion and the others always tell me some strange things. Thanks to that, I'm getting tougher, to put it in a good way, shrewd, to put it in a bad one. But then I need to, otherwise I wouldn't survive in this club. I'm going to continue to learn a lot of stuff through these club activities so I can live in this human world. Alright, did we cover everybody? I think we did. Sunday, June 19th, 1983. Night falls on my longest day of the past 1,000 years. The club members are having a blast, a lot of people are here, and the stall vendors are still doing business. The speakers are blaring rough, yet exciting festival music. I've known all of these, but how wonderful it is to actually feel and hear them in person. I thought I knew. I thought I knew because I've been following and watching them, but that was completely different. I knew of it, but this is the first time I've actually experienced it. We had a takoyaki eating contest. There was no octopus in it, but it was still very tasty. We had a shaved ice eating contest. I would have enjoyed the shaved ice if I had eaten it more slowly. I bought a candied apple for the first time. Everyone took a bite from it. It was tasty, and it was fun. We played a shooting game. I didn't know how difficult it would be to shoot a target, but it was fun too. Also, we played a shady lottery game. It was one of those things where you pulled a string and got a prize. Nobody got a good prize. We all complained about it to the vendor. That too was just so much fun. Then it was time for the dedication dance. Did Rika actually do it? Of course, we go there early, so we commandeered the best seats. I snuck out and stood where I was told to. I could see better than the other club members. This was the spot where the object of worship sat. This was where I was supposed to be during the ritual dance. No, this was where I thought I had to be. But seeing the dance from that spot wasn't fun. Therefore, I returned to where I was and sat with everyone else. They saved me a spot. Everyone rubbed my head while asking me where I went. I apologized by saying ow ow. That made me very happy. I watched the performance in the crowd of people. It was the best dance I've witnessed in the past 1,000 years. I couldn't keep either my happiness or my tears from flowing out. After the dance was over, a handful of cotton was passed around to all the villagers. We let the cotton absorb all the filth and sins of the past year and washed it down the stream. Cotton is cotton. Obviously, it's not human. We use cotton instead of a human so that nobody is sad. In other words, this is the way to purify sins without making anyone suffer.
はい、これ。羽生ちゃんの綿だよ。やり方わかる？
Oh, she definitely does.
わかりますのです。
She's watched for a while, you know. She has a little bit of viewing
こ
experience.
うしてポンポンしてから流すのですよ。はんはん。
The girl who gave me the cotton took the letter I from her name during last year's Watanagashi and washed it down the stream. By doing so, she was freed from her suffering and began a new life. We drifted our sins down the stream. It's not the same as pushing our sins into the cotton. Instead, we wash away our own sins and forgive ourselves. We forgive each other, we help each other, and that's how we create our own story. I put my cotton in the stream gently. Oh shit. This is a very long CG. Come on. Show the entire gang. We're almost there. There's everybody. Okay, now there's everybody. Sorry, Shion. I guess I don't constitute you as a club member. I'm sorry. The cotton went down the stream, into the world where sins are cleansed. I let my bare feet soak in the clear stream. As I watched the long, long line of cotton flowing down the stream, or downstream in the dark, surrounded by people sending their cotton flowing down the wondrous stream. Is that it? Don't tell me that's it, game. Come on, no. No. Come on. There has to be like a little bit more. This is a complete world where all the fragments were put together. This is an ideal world. What else is there? What else do you need? Hanyu Furude still wants more. Because we can be even happier than this. We can be happier if we wish to be. Not a long time from now, but in the near future. Then when is it? I told you it's in the near future. we will be happy then too. See? That's the title. That's not happiness, that's sadness because this shit's over. Come on. But I mean, yeah, I mean, this is it. We're pretty much wrapped up here. Oh, here's our little poem. Everyone is entitled to happiness. The difficult part is accepting that. Everyone is entitled to happiness. The difficult part is fulfilling that. I too am entitled to happiness. The difficult part was something compromised because from now on, I'm going to live a much, much happier life. I'm not going to compromise with just this. We'll retrieve all the happiness that we missed. 100 years worth for me, 1,000 years worth for you. Oh, there's the anime music. That means credits. Oh man, we actually did it, gamers. We made it to the end. It only took us 2 years. I wish that was a joke. We're still seeing a blank screen here, by the way. I don't know what's happening. I don't think it's started yet. Oh, there it is. A report on the coup d'etat of the Irie Institute proposal. Regarding the coup d'etat of the Irie Institute, one of the responsibilities of the Irie Institute administration of the manual. Certain personnel, however, conspired to execute the manual under false circumstances, accepted the bribes to do so. I can't read all this fucking shit. God damn it. I cannot do this shit. Okay, I'm gonna have to like hella skim through this shit. Alright, Irie is no longer the director, but he's in a leadership position. Takano, something's crossed out there. I'm gonna have to like go back and read this. Okanogi, something is crossed out. Decided to bargain with the first lieutenant, freely willing to hand over information. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff crossed out here. Oh, Nomura, look at that. Look at that. Oh, she's still trying to get her political gain. I will report to your residence tomorrow evening. Yeah. Wonder who she's talking to. Probably somebody even higher up. You know, it's all it is the political gain, the moving around with this weird sus organization. Alrighty, well. Gamers, we did it. We straight up did it. It took us almost 2 years. I think it actually took us a little over 2 years. I could probably look it up, to be totally honest. It might take a minute, but now I'll look it up later. I think if I counted correctly, which I may not have, I think we're literally 1 episode away from 200. So that sucks. It sucks that we got to 190. I think this is the 199th episode altogether. I think this is only the 36th or 37th. I don't know. I don't know my numbers. We're somewhere in the 30s for this chapter, but if you add all of them together, some were a little shorter on episode counts. Some were a little longer like this one. It really just depended on how long the games were and, you know, how much I recorded in each episode and all that. It's a nice song, by the way. I am talking over it, but it is neat. Nothing special, but it is neat. But we did a lot of episodes. I think this may have surpassed Grisaya. I did a lot of Grisaya for like years. This may have surpassed it, and I was definitely more consistent on my recording for this series, than like Grisaya or really any others. I was pretty much on this. And this is most likely, therefore, the longest one that I've done, but I don't know. I'd have to look into all that information. So I think I may have done something like this in a previous chapter, but I am going to stop recording after the credits are done rolling, and I'm going to finish this up in another session. I think we're going to have like a tip to read, which is our epilogue. I think there's going to be like talking with the director, or not the director, the fucking author of the game. And then I was told there is a secret ending, so I have to bust my ass I have to get all the fragments basically in correct order, so I'm just going to look up a guide for that. And I actually already found one. It's like really easy. I just got to select the right ones and press the good old skip button, which hopefully works. And basically skip throughout the entire game. That'll be fun. But yeah, I think I'm gonna do all that in like another sitting, and then this will just be like another hour plus long episode. I mean, we're almost at an hour, so it'll definitely be like a little bit more than an hour. And then I'll state some final thoughts. I won't completely state my final thoughts here. I think it's better if I like, you know, take the time to let the ending sink in, and I will state my thoughts for if this really is the 199th episode. I do have some plans for a potential 200th something or other special thing to do, but I'm gonna verify before I end this episode completely. So basically, before I record the next part of this episode, I'm gonna verify which episode number this is in the grand total. Are we waiting for the song to end? Are we really just waiting for the song to end? Again, it's nothing special, but I guess we're just waiting for it to end here. As we look at this lovely logo. Come on. Come on, song. Could I just click and end it? Yep, I can. Maybe? Come on. Come on. There we go. Fade to black already. Yeah, we don't need to hear the song. It leads to complications and me getting copyright claims and all that. Alrighty. The jump mode has been unlocked. Yay. I don't know why are they using that sound effect still? Come on. The tips reading room has been unlocked, but we don't have any tips unless there's the staff room. We have received a new tip, the forbidden treasure, Onagari no Ryo. All right, cool. We got the achievement, and so the shining future. So I'm assuming that the tip that we just got is, well, it's the only tip, quite literally the only tip. And the staff room, see what the author has to say. And then I have to run through the whole fucking game again to get the secret ending. Whatever that entails too. But that'll all be in this episode because I want to have just one more episode here. Fuck a 200th episode. If we really are at 199, I'm going to have to completely verify that, and I'll get back to you guys on that one. So, not going to state any more thoughts here. I think it's best if I let things sink in, and future Michael will take it from here. Yeehaw. And I'm back. Okay, so before we jump into the final things that we need to take care of for this playthrough, first thing I have noticed upon opening this program is that the background is different. I did not notice that last night when I was recording, so that's pretty interesting. I'm used to seeing a big ass moon, so this was kind of surprising as I was opening the game and getting all my recording stuff going. Another thing is that I want to reread, or actually properly read through everything that was briefly brought up, or too quickly brought up in the, or I guess right before the credits. It was the report that Nomura had written up. I want to actually read through that, as I feel like that's pretty important. So a report on the coup d'etat of the Irie Institute proposal. Regarding the coup d'etat of the Irie Institute, one of the responsibilities of the Irie Institute, hereafter the Institute, was the administration of Emergency Manual 34. Certain personnel, however, conspired to execute the manual under false circumstances and accepted bribes to do so. These individuals include the Institute's subdirector, Mio Takano, and First Lieutenant Okanogi. Wow, she's also throwing Okanogi under the desk here, or under the bus, really. The response is that authorities of the Institute were detained immediately. An emergency response unit was sent to attack the Institute and detained all inside. The workers at the Institute all surrendered and were promptly secured by headquarters. So regarding the commissioned officers and commanders of the Irie Institute. So there's Irie, the director. The inquiry committee had confirmed that the lieutenant colonel had nothing to do with this incident. However, due to his responsibility as a supervisor of the Institute, he was handed over to the disciplinary committee, which removed him from his official capacity as director. However, he was instructed to remain in a leadership position in order to take care of what business remained. Which is good. I think that's completely deserving. How the fuck do I get to the next image? Oh, there we go. Major Takano, Subdirector. It is the Inquiry Committee's conclusion that the Major was the ringleader of this incident, and then crossed out, and they are continuing to investigate her background, so they're not anymore. Or they're not, I don't know. Who knows what's true and what isn't. Additionally, according to tests run on the Major, she is infected with Hinamizawa syndrome, and her condition has become severe. Therefore, it is possible that she cannot be held accountable for her actions at the time of the incident. The Major remains at the Institute and is being treated to prevent her symptoms from reaching the terminal stage. When she has recovered sufficiently to be moved, she will be handed over to the disciplinary committee. Alright, Okanogi. It is the Inquiry Committee's conclusion that the first lieutenant was an accomplice in this incident. Furthermore, the investigation department claims that he accepted bribes from Major Takano for this purpose, which he actually did, I think. This said, and this is what's crossed out, there remain many suspicious elements, let's go with that, in his background, and the department is continuing their investigation. The disciplinary committee, meanwhile, has decided to bargain with the first lieutenant, as he has been freely willing to hand over information and has contributed greatly to the investigation of this case. Alright, regarding the Irie Institute, as per the original plan, the research project in Hinamizawa will conclude within 3 years. A new director has been sent from headquarters, and it has been decided that the previous director will continue his research duties under the new director's supervision. And after the Hinamizawa syndrome is fully exterminated, the underground research area will be shut down, and the building above sold to a private party. According to Lieutenant Colonel Irie's contract, he is entitled to priority treatment during these negotiations. And now this is completely crossed out, the additional information. Some members of the Inquiry Committee have raised concerns about the management of this investigation. It is the writer's personal opinion that we should consider the importance of this incident and select more suitable candidates for the committee, as to verify this matter from a different angle. Is this acceptable? If I may obtain your approval, I will report to your residence tomorrow evening. Nomura. Alright, I'm happy that we got to read through that in its entirety without being rushed, to be completely honest. Okay. Extra... I guess let's go through the one tip. That's our epilogue, I'm assuming. The Forbidden Treasure. Onigari no Ryo. The forbidden... Okay, I just said that. It's the most valuable asset of the Furude Shrine that's kept in the ritual storehouse. In ancient times, when this place was a chaotic world of both humans and demons, this precious sword defeated the demon god. However, nobody has seen it for 1,000 years. According to the legend, it is sealed in the statue dedicated to Oyashiro-sama in the ritual storehouse. Because of its structure, as long as the belief in Oyashiro-sama continues, it will remain a forbidden tool forever sealed away. Also, it is only mentioned in the forbidden scrolls of the Furude Shrine. Therefore, only a handful of the Furude family heads have ever known about its existence. According to several of these forbidden scrolls, the sword is shaped like a willow branch. There are some ink paintings of the sword made by a few Furude heads, but none of them match that description. That means they drew those pictures from their imagination. The legend says there was a girl named Oka who received a divine message that commanded her to defeat the demon god. However, neither the swords of humans or demons could conquer the demon god. It would require a blade that was neither a human sword nor a demon sword. Only a sword that mixes human and demon qualities could defeat the demon god. It has been said repeatedly that the ancestors of Hinamizawa are half demon and half human. Oka Furude, dates unknown, is said to be the first person whose blood was mixed in that way, and this description is what conveys that. Heaven gave Oka a precious sword. The precious sword was shaped like a willow branch. Its tip split 3 ways, which symbolized heaven, earth, and people in unity. It also symbolizes the harmony between heaven, demons, and humans. Oka headed to the swamp where the demon god hid and defeated him with this treasured sword. And each forbidden scroll describes how she defeated the demon god differently. Some say she disciplined him, some say he ran away, some say he surrendered. What happened to the demon god afterwards is unclear too. The oldest scroll says the precious sword destroyed the demon god's horn, but other books don't mention that. The precious sword that defeated the demon god was then enshrined and was named Onagari no Ryo. Oka sealed this precious sword in the deepest place of the shrine to hide its existence forever. Even if it was created to slay the demon god, the sword didn't belong in this world anymore, and shouldn't exist on the face of the earth. Some said this was why it was removed from the human world. But some said Oka was the daughter of the demon god, and that she wanted to banish the sword that killed her mother. The ancient cult of Oyashiro-sama suggested Oyashiro-sama was this demon god, the source of chaos, the source of all that was evil, and the source of all friction, to prevent the demon god from returning to the human world through worship and comfort is the root of that ancient cult. And this may be a type of cult devoted to an evil god. This idea that it's not worship for protection, but to stave off a curse, links slightly to the modern worship of Oyashiro-sama, but seems slightly distant from the modern worship that asks for Oyashiro-sama's blessings and sees them as a god of marriage and good relationships. It fosters the argument that humans are good by nature, saying that all discord is the work of Oyashiro-sama, and there are no demons in the world of man. After that, the legend continues on to what we know today, the harmony of humans and demons. But in this era, all the scrolls on the origin of the belief in Oyashiro-sama and the scrolls of the matriarch of the Furude family have been sealed due to being forbidden. And that happened probably because the new image of Oyashiro-sama, that of a loving and affectionate god, and the ancient image of Oyashiro-sama, the source of all evil, did not match. It became too difficult to explain the faith's doctrine. Also, if one believes the forbidden scrolls, the Furude family was descended from the one who killed her own mother, and that would mean their blood was cursed. If all of that is true, then today's faith is very different from the one that was started by the matriarch. One of the leaders of the Furude family from hundreds of years ago wrote this: "The Onagari no Ryo, the legendary precious sword, is the symbol of both the Furude family and the sins of the human world." It was an era where people pushed the source of their evil onto others and could only purify their sins by killing one another. The matriarch, one, took in the root of all evil herself and let her child murder her. That was how this place was freed from the chaos. And here's number one. The matriarch usually means Oka Furude, but sometimes it means her mother. The notion that the matriarch was the demon god was a taboo among the Furude family. However, obviously some leaders interpreted it that way. When the Furude family or when the world of man commits the foolish act of seeking to blame others and tries to return to the world of demons, that is when faith will disappear, and the statue's head will shatter. That is when the Onagari no Ryo will appear to us. And the second coming will once again revive the memory of the Furude family's forgotten sins. Is the demon god a fictional legend, or someone who actually existed? In some rare cases, babies were born with horns, and they were called children of the demon god. Descendants of the Furude family will read this. The myths passed down by our forbidden scrolls are numerous and their content vastly differs. But don't get caught up in the smoke. No matter how different all of these scrolls are, there is one thing they all want to convey. Search the heart of Oka Furude, the one who sealed the Onagari no Ryo forever. That is the fate that all the Furude family leaders must understand. Alright. A little bit of history to add on to the history that I can't recall. It kind of sucks because whenever we did learn about the past, it was all from different perspectives. And there's our achievement. Aha, detective, as if, we read a bunch of tips, Yeah, there was a lot of, history lessons and all that throughout the Higurashi games about humans, demons, the coming of Oyashiro-sama, how he was interpreted, what had happened, what the swamp means, this and that. And honestly, I kind of need to review all that personally because it really was told in bits and pieces, sometimes from Takano's journal, but It would be good to go back and actually see, now that we've gone through everything and we know who Hanyu is, it might be a pretty good idea to go back and kind of see everything all at once. All right. What is up, Sensei? You go by that, right? Thank you for playing Matsuribayashi. No. Thank you very much for playing Higurashi When They Cry until the end. Matsuribayashi is in a way the solution episode for the situation with Takano and the kids starting from halfway through Minagoroshi. How can they defeat Takano's conspiracy? How can they reach their ideal ending? I wrote this episode as a duel between you, the reader, and me, the writer. So if you created a better resolution, or world, than Matsuribayashi, that means you've defeated Ryukishi 07 in this duel. I have lost. I could not think of any fucking way to do this shit. I, Ryukishi 07, have provided 2 resolutions. One is how to fight against Takano. First, here is a hint from the Minagoroshi chapter. You find out about Takano's conspiracy, which relies on Emergency Manual 34. Next, here are hints from the Watanagashi and Miyakashi chapters. It has been 48 hours after Rika's death, yet the village is peaceful. Yes, that is true. Absolutely. If you put those 2 things together, obviously the basis of the emergency manual, which Hifumi Takano wrote, that everyone will develop terminal symptoms within 48 hours, isn't true. Well, there it is. There it is. Somebody in the comments told me before I figured it out, but yes, there it is. So when you put these 2 together, you can realize that if Rika's body was discovered 48 hours after her death, then it's possible to prevent the final operation. If the Matsuribayashi chapter, or in it, I wrote about an attacking side and a defending side like a novel. If I were to simply write about the resolution, all I had to write was for Ushi to announce that Rika died at least 48 hours ago, and Takano's conspiracy would fall apart once the news reached Tokyo. This was rather an easy solution, like a puzzle, so I'm sure many of you got this right. The other resolution was the ideal ending for this world. To answer this, I have to explain the worldview of this story first. There are hints all over, but the crucial ones are in the Tatarigoroshi and Minagoroshi chapters. Sadako's uncle comes home and Sadako's life becomes miserable. How can she be rescued from that situation? If this story was an exercise in murder, then the Tatarigoroshi chapter is the correct answer. Keiichi kills Teppei and hides his body well. There's a happy ending. But I didn't end the episode that way. Instead, I denied it with a bad ending. The resolution the worldview of Higurashi When They Cry advocates is a non-violent one, with everyone united together. That is established in question chapters such as Onikakushi, Watanagashi, and Tatarigoroshi. In those worlds when someone becomes suspicious about everything and worries about it alone, things get worse, and that leads to tragedy. The Miyakashi chapter is the sublimination of that situation. On the other hand, when one talks to their friends, it's revealed that the causes of the tragedies are quite silly. That is indicated in the God damn it, I forgot. This is the one that sucks to read. It's fucking chapter 6 and Minagoroshi episodes. In other words, you can see that in the worlds of Higurashi, anything can overcome or be overcome when people talk to each other and help one another. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen in reality. Helping each other creates friction, and oftentimes working alone is a lot simpler. However, we always hope that we can connect with other people and understand each other so that we can face any difficulty. In that sense, this world is a fantasy. Well, yeah. There's a lot of, hints that lead to this world being a fantasy. I'll believe anything. Shit, the ending involved Rika freezing time, grabbing a bullet with her bare hand, and, avoiding anyone or allowing the avoidance of anyone dying. This is a world of fantasy. I believe it. That's right. In the worlds of Higurashi, there is one magical rule. That is to talk to others and accept help from them. Then you can defeat anything. With that, it is possible to make a miracle happen. If that could be cast into an absolute world, it would be a sort of magical, systematic miracle. And just like when what Hanyu and her friends said in the story. That is the worldview of Higurashi when they cry. If you follow that rule and think about an ideal ending, I bet the first thing you'll think about is an ending where all the club members unite and defeat Takano. Actually, there are scenes in the Matsuribayashi chapter that affirm that sort of ending. However, at the same time, Takano is described as a very lonely person. By doing so, I raise a question about the resolution. Everyone else unites, defeats Takano, and makes her into a sacrifice. This is a happy ending for everyone except Takano. It is a very popular style of story for the protagonists to unite together and sacrifice the antagonist. Aliens come to the Earth to invade us, so the world unites and defeats the aliens. Hooray for humans, and we must all get along. This is a very popular storyline all over the world. There are plenty of stories that use aliens, devils, or monsters as clear bad guys and make them into sacrifices. Two parties fighting with each other become allies once the third party shows up. Storylines like these are indeed exciting. By adding a sacrifice, differing parties unite and become allies. To create the situation, there has to be always the third party, the sacrifice as well. I'm sure many of those who created such stories must have already noticed that. We always add a third enemy that can't possibly unite with us. To make up with each other, we try to find a common enemy. Am I the only one who feels that describes our world today? In reality, this world belongs only to humans. There are no aliens, or devils, or monsters, so for us to find an enemy, we'll have to fight each other forever. To make up with each other, we need a new enemy, so we just end up fighting someone else. In this chapter of Higurashi, I declared that to be the demon of the world of man. With these explanations of the worldview here in mind, do you wonder if the resolution of defeating Takano is in fact an ideal resolution of the Matsuribayashi chapter? That's right. It's basically the same foolishness found in Tatarigoroshi. According to that logic, the Minagoroshi chapter isn't the best resolution for the problems that surround Sadako either. Do you understand that? How can they make up with Takano? You wouldn't suggest to make Tokyo into a new enemy and let the club members join with Takano, would you? If I continue to talk about this issue, I will probably end up mentioning something religious, so let me stop here. What kind of ending would be the best outcome following the worldview of Higurashi when they cry? Perhaps it's something better than the Matsuribayashi chapter. You can consider this a graduating question for Higurashi when they cry. Maybe I will leave it as my final gift for those who enjoyed this tale for 4.5 years. Thank you for reading this extremely complicated story. In the end, what was this all for? If I were to put the answer to that question in one word, it would be entertainment. That's usually how it is. It's not important if you were able to answer the riddles. After all, you enjoyed yourself. You won. Rikishio 7 will continue to challenge you. Higurashi when they cry ends here, but I hope I get to see you again in a different world. What kind of work do I want to create next? Maybe it's fitting to choose my next work from an infinite number of possibilities while listening to the chorus of the Higurashi. I want to express my gratitude to all the people who have supported me until today. Thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all again. Soon, Rikishio 7. That was interesting. That was a very interesting thing to think about there. The idea that, yeah, Takano is the enemy until the very end. She didn't cease becoming the antagonist, but did we really defeat her? We won, but again, there is no loser. Or is there? She's still the enemy until the end. That was kind of the goal, was to make her the enemy. So, yeah, in a way, he does make a point. And what was all this for? I mean, there's always themes and things that you can take away from stories, so it could be up to self-interpretation. It's something to really think about, to be completely honest with you. Okay, on to the very fun part. We aren't done yet. I would like to state my thoughts after we unlock and view the secret ending. So to do that, I'll stop recording. I apparently need to go back through. I gotta hit the old start button again. I'm gonna go back through, and I have to do each and every one of the fragments in proper order, avoiding anything from being in the incorrect order. If I do that, then I have to completely start over. But that will unlock a secret fragment. Apparently, the only way that you could unlock it is, sure, you can get all of them correct in the beginning, but you have to go back through, and once you go through all of them again, getting them all correct, and you've beaten the game once, it unlocks a secret fragment. So, I'm off to go and do that. So future me will be with you again very soon. Okay, so I've gone back and I've done all the fragments in order. Thank you to those that put together Steam guides or guides in general, because you are the real MVPs. So the only one left is leftover fragments. After doing this, it should unlock a, well, actually, you know what? I might have to complete the game completely again. So that will probably just involve me having to press and hold control and go all the way through, but who knows? It might actually just pop up if I load the game again, now that I've already finished. Or I can just load my save where I have finished, finish again, then go back. I don't know. Also, this is the reason why I wasn't recording or commentating while skipping, because you just hear vine booms and other stock sound effects and voices. It's a little much. Just a little bit, you know?
その奇跡をあなたはきっと気づかないだろうけれど。
You done talking? This is it right here. This is what it is. Flags from kids' meals. She needs to be rescued too. Let's get it, boys and girls. A girl's cheerful voice echoed in the house. It was a tenement house, so walls were thin. So of course her yell carried through to the neighbors, but since it was a child's voice, nobody cared, or nobody complained. Same shit.
お父さんたちデパートへ行こうと思うんだが。
Her father's voice didn't reach the girl because all she was thinking about was making a new secret base with their friends in the field. Her father knew the girl had been looking forward to going to the mall, and that if they went without her, she would be upset. He also knew that the girl liked collecting flags from the kids' meals at the restaurant there, and one more would bring her collection to 20 flags. The girl was making a wish on those flags. She believed if she collected 20 of them, she could become happy. Ah yes, material things, physical items. That is where you find happiness. Oh well. He supposed he'd bring a flag home as a souvenir. It wouldn't be a big deal. If he asked a waitress, she'd bring one for him. This is where they die, isn't it? On that day, due to an accident, the trains were running behind schedule. To make up the time lost, drivers were braking a little too late and accelerating a bit too soon. It was rather unsafe. The Tanashi family didn't own a car. They always used a train to go to the mall. As the girl skipped her way to her friend's house, an unfamiliar woman stopped her. Oh. Obviously, she wasn't from around here. The ties between the neighbors were very tight around there. The girl knew everyone's face. So if there was a stranger, it was either a new mailman or someone who's lost. The woman said to the girl,
行きたい。死にたい。
Any person would think the woman was crazy, asking something like that. But the girl was too innocent to think that way. She answered immediately.
行きたい。そう。ならお行きなさい。どうせ行っても友達は留守だけど、それでもお行きなさい。留守なの?
The girl couldn't figure out why this woman would know that. As the woman left, the girl stopped her. She was curious, although it was a little scary as to what response she'd get if she answered differently.
なら、死にたいだとどうなるの? お子様ランチの旗がもう一本手に入るわ。え？あ、ずるい！私に内緒でデパートに行く気だ！ずるいずるい！
The girl turned and tried to run back home.
いいのね？後悔はしないのね？
The mysterious woman tried to confirm this.
なんで後悔するの？
教えないわ。意地悪だから。
The girl thought this was some kind of a riddle, so she pondered it for a while, but she couldn't figure it out. Then she clapped her hands as if she came to a conclusion.
大丈夫だよ。
どうして大丈夫なの？
何があってもお父さんとお母さんが一緒だもん。
Huh. The woman stepped aside. The girl bowed to her and ran home. Interesting. She saw her parents locking the door to leave. The girl jumped on them and nagged them that she wanted to go too. The girl was going to the mall with her family. The family headed to the train station, waited for a train to arrive and got on it. The driver was feeling the pressure to make up for the delay, and the passengers can tell that from the way he was driving. The girl noticed the unusual swaying of the train. She stood on her knees and looked out the window. Her mother told her to sit down because it was dangerous. The girl stuck her tongue out. Then, the train reached a very big and very sharp curve. The train tilted in that direction, and all the people were shoved to the side. They were all squished together and grumbled about. Then, the train continued to... Come on, flip. Come on. Come on, you can use words. Or at least let me use words. The girl and her parents came home under the sky full of stars with shopping bags in their hands. Okay, so everything is fine? They unlocked the door, turned the lights on, and then the girl put her bags by the front door and ran into her room. She opened her desk drawer, took something out of her pocket and put it in. She closed the drawer once, but opened it again and then spread her treasure on the tatami floor. They were the flags of many different countries that came with the kids' meals. The Japanese flag, American flag, the English flag. Which country was this for? The one with 3 colors. She lined them up as she counted. She counted out loud. Then she danced around happily. For she now had 20 of them. It took her so long to collect that many. It was hard work for this girl, who was so proud of herself for reaching her goal. She worked so hard that there must be something good waiting for her. She made a wish to become happy if she collected 20 of them. Therefore, something wonderful must be waiting to happen. The girl waited excitedly, but soon realized it wasn't a magic lamp, so no genie would be jumping out. Maybe it wouldn't happen that night. Maybe it'd be tomorrow. The girl decided to wait patiently. She accomplished something as great as collecting 20 flags. Surely something, or some wonderful happiness awaited. Surely, some wonderful miracle awaited. Or perhaps it might be like a charm, keeping sad misfortunes at bay. The girl put her 20 flags back in the drawer. As she heard her mother tell her to brush her teeth and go to bed, she ran to the bathroom. And something's gonna happen, right? This is fine, isn't it? It's okay to get a miracle in advance. What should I do next? There are plenty of fragments to play with. What? You want to try too? It's fun. It makes you feel like God. A world with Satoshi, or a world where the Sonozaki sisters didn't switch. I wonder what a world with Sudoko's parents and Rika's parents alive and well would be like. Oh, how about this? Akasaka gets enticed to the enemy's side by Takano. Ha, that sounds interesting. Personally, I'm curious about a world where Takano is madly in love with Tomitake. It'll be fun to match Keiichi with different girls too. I love drama very, very much. Haha. Let's see. What should I do next? I have so many fragments. Hey, do you want some? What kind of world are you going to make? I don't really know what to interpret from this, to be honest. I'm sorry. The world of Higurashi when they cry will move on even without us. There are many dreams, possibilities, miracles in that world. There are innumerable fragments, all interweaved with one another. I've shown you a small number of those fragments, but it's up to you to play with the rest of them. The world of Higurashi when they cry is now in your hands. It is a big, wide world of fragments, and they are yours to manipulate. Your dreams, your possibilities, and your miracles are yours to discover. And thank you for joining me on this 4.5-year tale about this world. I thank all those who supported me during this 4.5-year tale about this world. I thank all the characters who brought this 4.5-year tale about this world to life. I thank my family who has given me their understanding for this work, co-workers who spared no effort for the sake of this work, friends who supported me during the creation of this work, and while I am still the same person who created this work, I thank this work itself for the unforgettable 4.5 years it's given me. I thank the fact that I've left behind a legacy of the past 4.5 years of work. I thank all those people who sent me emails teaching me the joys of production. If I may leave you with one more piece, I leave you the joy of making a product of your own. I have nothing to show for the 4.5 years I spent in college. I simply spent my days without achieving anything. I left no proof that I was even alive during that time. If you feel that the regret for this was what drove me to make this work, then I think we can meet again as friends. This is why I leave you this message. I look forward to the day we meet, my friend. Whew. Okay, I was able to read that one in its entirety. Let's go. Thank you, Sensei. Is it right to call him Sensei? I'm actually not sure on that one, to be honest. I don't know if that's telling us that, like, you know, we can do whatever. Like, anything is possible because this is technically like a Steins Gate thing. There's a world for everything. There's possibilities with everything. Maybe, I don't know. The possibilities of forever is the achievement we got for that one. Is that all the achievements? Did we get everything? We did. There we go. So I got all the achievements for all chapters. And also in chapter 7, like, my game crashed at some point. So after the playthrough of that chapter was done, I actually had to go back and I had to go through all the tips because I didn't know which one I didn't have. I had to go through each and every single one, and it was one that I thought I had already gotten. So there you go. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we've done it. We have fucking done it. 199 episodes. I counted, don't worry. In between the recording sessions, I did go back and I counted everything plus one for this one, and 199. So my plan is for a 200th episode of the playthrough is just to sit down, throw some stuff together, some old clips, look at some of the predictions I've made, look at some of the things that I've pointed out a few times in the playthrough, and talk for like half an hour or so. It'll be a scripted project of some sort, and that will be my 200th and final video that I do on the 8 Higurashi chapters. But wait, there's more, because apparently there's like some extra Higurashi shit that just got like localized or translated or something. It was brought to Steam on PC, so I'm going to be jumping into that eventually. I more than ever would like to take a small break from everything Higurashi. If you give me a few months or something now that we have completed the story. I believe everything that happens after this is technically canon, but not important, or something along those lines. It doesn't add anything too special, but it might add just maybe a teeny tiny something. I actually have no idea. I didn't want to spoil myself, so I didn't look into the title. I didn't even buy it or anything like that. But whenever it's on sale, I will get it. And whenever the gamers over at the 07th mod, whenever they put this shit together, the mod, I will get it going, and we'll come back to the wonderful world of Higurashi when they cry. See what's popping in Hinamizawa. And I guess this also gives me the accessibility of watching the new Higurashi anime that came out. I heard that it's different, like it goes in its own direction, and not a lot of people like it because it kind of goes into its own direction. But I'm curious as to see what it does, you know? Like, I'm curious to see what it does differently and just enjoy the you know, cool looking graphics and stuff of it, because it looked really shiny and all that modern age animation or whatever. Anyways, let's talk about what we just went through. So obviously I'm going to kind of talk about my thoughts and everything of the entirety of Higurashi in a separate video, because there's a lot to talk about and I would like to review some things. So I would like some time for that and make an actual project video out of that. Mark my words, this will happen. If it doesn't, you guys are allowed to spit on me or hit me or something. I don't know. Whichever isn't sexual. But for this chapter alone, this was a nice conclusion. And I think it was brought up in either chapter 6 or 7 or one of those from the staff room scenes, but the point of a mystery is a mystery. When the mystery is solved, there's not too much more to really gain from a mystery story. It's really becomes something different. And I understand that. I really, really do. But I think it was still very enjoyable because of how invested we became in the characters, the story overall. We wanted to see things come to a proper conclusion. Even so, we kind of had a grasp on what is really going on overall. We still wanted a proper conclusion. We wanted our characters to persevere and defeat the enemy, which they did without creating a loser, which I thought was a pretty cool touch, to be totally honest with you guys. I am content with how it ended, but I'm also sad. I kind of mentioned this maybe a couple episodes or so ago, somewhere maybe near the end, but it kind of felt like a lot of things were being wrapped up either quickly or in the middle of something. It just, like, you could tell that we were really approaching the end and that this was the final chapter. If the fragments weren't a telltale sign that things were getting wrapped up and things that weren't explained were finally getting explained, story elements that we've come across before are being brought up in this world compared to previous chapters that we've gone through, just for the sake of making sure that everything is known. Now, I think Chapter 7 did it in a very similar way, just they kind of swept it under the rug. They did it really quickly, like, oh, Rena had these dreams that, like, oh, she bombed the school or something, haha, but now she's learned because she talked to somebody, and Shion also had an experience, and it allowed her to become close to Sodako. And in the end, a lot of that kind of came to fruition. I mean, Sodako now has Shion on her side after everything. Rena is a very dependable person. You know, she didn't have to murder anybody to become dependable. And, so on and so forth. I think that a lot of what the characters have learned through their stories were able to come up to this point. But that's also the struggle with this sort of storytelling, and what was kind of rough near the end, I will admit, is just seeing that, yeah, everybody is, happy, and they will do well. They don't have their problems. Their problems are more or less solved before they became a problem. Because of the previous chapters, it's just that they're so disconnected. And it does remind me of Steins Gate in a way, because every character had their own route, and you can help them out, and you get to learn about them and this and that. But then you kind of jump ship before you can truly help them out. So in the end, have you really helped them out? It really makes you think. But you know what? It's cool, whatever. As long as the characters are happy and they're not betraying each other or trying to kill each other, I think that's good. I will have to think about what the authors said there in the staff room for a little bit. What the answer to his question could be, that final riddle, if you will. And, well, really a few other things as well. There's a lot of things to consider here. But I think if there's one thing we should really discuss here, or something I should really bring up is, I guess two things. Two characters that were the highlights of this chapter. That is our enemy of Takano, who was defeated, kinda, and somebody who entered the story instead of just being a bystander. All this time was a bystander, and it was only until the previous chapter that we found out about her. But Hanyu. We'll start with Hanyu. I had somebody in the comments who's stuck around for this, practically, it seemed like this entire playthrough, almost 200 episodes worth, say that they're kind of unhappy with, how Hanyu was positioned in the story. I don't know if you can say that she was necessarily shoehorned in, but I feel like there was a little bit too many magical happenings that happened in this episode due to her. But in the end, she is supposed to be Oyashiro-sama, right? Or some sort of mystical above-human being. So I understand that she is going to do some crazy shit that is totally unexplainable. It just seemed a little odd at times. And compared to Chapter 7, it felt like she was a completely different character. It was really weird. I will admit that I was kind of upset that Rika kind of forgot everything from the previous chapters, since that was a really big learning experience for her, and you can really feel her learning. But Hanyu, not so much. Hanyu was actually the one who walked away with everything and use that to encourage everybody, including Rika, but it just didn't feel the same. And no flack to Hanyu, definitely not, but it just, I don't know, it felt very disconnected, and I don't know how I feel about it. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And again, I have no issue with Hanyu's character. I'm glad she was involved, truly. It's another, character, cute, sweet, funny, haha, part of the club. Yeehaw, let's go with it. I really do not mind. Shion, on the other hand, I don't know, but no. The Hanyu's character, I don't mind her existence. I'm glad she actually played a role in the story. It just seemed very weird that she took everything that Rika grew on in the previous chapter, and that was basically her character motivation in this one. It felt a little weird. That's all I gotta say on that one. For Takano, I felt like she was a pretty good villain. The story did a fantastic job in making her human. In Chapter 7, and really, you know what, I'll say, throughout the entirety of this series, she was just one strange bitch, straight up. And you had to have suspicions of her. I definitely did. I mean, she was the one who was basically trying to tell people, oh yeah, this place is evil, demons, and the curse, and oh yeah, disease, ooh, and aliens. She was always the one that was throwing shit at people. I mean, you had to have suspicions for her. I had more suspicions for her than the fucking doctor. Irie was a good guy. I'm happy he's not a villain. But my point is that in Chapter 7 is when we finally got to see her as the enemy. Truly, it confirmed it, and she was a monster. She straight up murdered people, all the main characters, no remorse, just straight up did it. The way she did Sudoko that was evil, straight up. But in this chapter, she was humanized. The fragment section was okay, by the way. I don't know. I had to give an opinion on that one. The fragments helped piece together some story elements, but really showed us a lot of parts with Takano. How she came up to the position that she was in. It seemed like she was doing great. But then it kind of went downhill when she started seeing herself in the position of a Yashiro-sama. Like, she had control of the village. And it's like she was getting her rocks off to it. And you could just see that it was going downhill. Everything else was following. Uncle Koizumi died. Nobody was taking her seriously in Tokyo. And then she began to be used for political gain by Nomura and some other group. It doesn't matter who it is, but somebody began pulling the strings. It really wasn't Takano who was the enemy. She just let herself fall to that point to be allowed to be an enemy. It's like a proxy sort of deal. I don't know, she still was the enemy, but she could have easily avoided it, I feel. But when people get to such low points, they can be used straight up, and they won't even realize it. And it's not just like a low point of sadness, it could be other emotions as well. Other upsetting emotions, you can be used and you won't realize it. Oh, how the human mind works. So, yeah, I mean, there is some sympathy to have for her. And I can't agree with what she did. She was obviously being used. But I feel like she definitely could have gone a completely different direction as Mio Takano. And, I'm glad that she's alive. I'm glad that she didn't commit suicide. I'm glad that they didn't kill her. I'm glad that nobody died in the end. I don't think anyone deserved to. Even so, she had murderous intentions. I guess you can also blame it on the syndrome. I guess that maybe also played a part, but there's no confirmation on that one. Just whatever Tomatake and Irie say. So who knows if they're telling the truth, right? So I don't have a problem with her as the villain, and I'm pretty happy with how she was humanized, because that makes you care about her. It actually gives you the opportunity to sympathize for her. It doesn't mean that you have to. It just means that the possibility is there. It makes her an even greater antagonist. And I think that's it. I don't think I have anything else to say. But obviously there's a lot to say about this series. There really, really is. What a journey this has been. I will say that. I will just do like a nice closure on everything here, since it really is it. I don't think I've put this much effort into consistently recording a series like I have for this. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time with the Grisaya series, which you guys are more than welcome to check out if you don't mind my shitty microphone. but I really stuck to this, and I'm pretty happy to see myself get to the end of this. Chapter 1, I thought of this as like a game to play for Halloween because my idea was that it was a spooky game. Sure, not knowing what's actually going on made it pretty scary in Chapter 1, but you begin to get your bearings, you get your perspective, and, well, as we went through the chapters, we got ourselves a pretty damn good story and a mystery to solve. It has been an absolute honor to record this for you guys. All of you that have stuck with me through the beginning or at some point in the middle or whatever, if you guys have watched this in the past, present, future, whenever, it has been an absolute blast to have you guys along with me for the ride. And it's really difficult to end these long-running playthroughs off. But I think it will definitely do this playthrough justice to do one more recording of some sort that just lets me speak my thoughts in a more organized manner. So I hope that you guys look forward to that. I hope you guys look forward to whatever I end up recording here on the channel, whether it's a game, whether it's a visual novel, whether it's I just, go straight downhill into eroge territory again, just for shits and giggles. I don't know. I just hope that you guys are willing to stick with me and see what else I record. And if not, well, still, it was a blast having you guys along for this ride. Thank you to those who commented and helped along with the mystery. I'm really appreciative that I never got spoiled on anything, but I did get the helping hands that I needed at times through the comments. So to those who commented as I was recording, and to those who commented in the future, when this playthrough is, years into the future, this playthrough is obviously done. If I'm still getting comments, absolutely appreciate that. There may have been things I missed, and it'd be cool to go back and be like, yeah, you know what? You make a good point. And that does happen, older playthroughs that I've finished up. It's nice seeing those types of comments. So thank you to everybody who has commented on any of these videos, to those that have subscribed because of these videos, or just anyone that's viewed any of them. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It has been an absolute goddamn honor. My name is Michael SK, and thank you for watching Higurashi When They Cry Chapter 8, along with the other Higurashi chapters here on my channel. Again, I hope to see you all with something else. Take it easy, everybody.